Thank you, folks. We're about to get started. Good evening. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Good evening and welcome to the City Council regular meeting this Monday, April 6th. I now call this meeting to order. Can we please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we begin, I would just like to share that pursuant to California Government Code, our Deputy Mayor, Nicole Fernandez, will be participating in this meeting remotely. City Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Certainly, Mayor Lorraine. Councilmember Diaz-Nash?
Present.
Councilmember Svirko-Goditsky?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Fernandez?
Here.
Mayor Lorraine?
Here.
And Councilmember Newsom?
Here. Thank you and welcome. We are excited to be here in person with options for those who choose not to be in person to still participate virtually. There are several ways to participate if you wish to give public comment. For those attending in person, you may complete a yellow request to speak slip and hand it to the city clerk, as he's indicating there. If you're participating remotely, you may use the raise your hand feature in Zoom, and you can be called on at the appropriate time. If you're calling in via phone, please press *9 to raise your hand, and when you're called upon, please press *6 to unmute. These options for public comment will remain available until I close public comment periods for each specific item. For members of the public who may be watching us on YouTube tonight, if you wish to provide live public comment, we do not currently have that feature available via YouTube. You'll need to join our Zoom webinar instead. Please use the access information listed on the agenda for the meeting, which is available on our website at cityofsanmateo.org. We're going to begin tonight with some ceremonial items. Item number 1 is Hillsdale High School 4.0 grade recognition. We have a number of students here. I'd like to note, that's what I wanted to note. And we look forward to also celebrating 4.0 recipients from Aragon High School, San Mateo, and Junipero Serra High School at our May 4th City Council meeting. But just tonight we have Hillsdale with us. I'd like to invite to the podium Principal Jeff Gilbert to share a few words, and then we will learn the names of those who are here to receive recognition.
Thank you, Mayor Lorraine, and to the City Council. Appreciate being here. One of the students asked me if I'd done this before, and this is my 21st time in front of the City Council. That's 3 years longer than 3 years longer than they've been alive. And so that certainly made me think a little bit about being old and the stories we tell as we get older. About the times when our parents would kick us out of the house on a Saturday morning and not see us for 15 hours, not know where we're at, and have no way to get in touch with us. Or I remember trying to call my best friend. I'd have to get on the telephone and see if the neighbors were also on the same line and ask to see if they disconnect so I could dial over and talk to my friend. That is not the world they live in. Often the stories we tell are of simpler times. Those days don't exist. And I think about the world that they are navigating from the time they were born until a month, 6 weeks from now when they graduate and walk across the stage. And yet, in spite of the challenges that they face, I think this group and the graduates from Hillsdale High School are more connected with the world, more compassionate, more ambitious, more willing to look outside of themselves and understand the world that they live in than I ever was. And in that, I have great hope, not just for them as individuals, but for our community. They're remarkable. And the people who are here and that we will recognize are actors, and they are academics, and they're athletes. and they argue in mock trial, and their list of accomplishments goes on and on and on, the volunteer work they do. But they're also a community. They are a community of people who care about each other, who do the best they can to not just take, but to give, whether that's organizing a book drive or participating in a volunteer work at a community garden. So we're really, really proud of them. It's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to represent Hillsdale High School, and for these students to represent the city of San Mateo. Should be very, very proud of them. And so with that, we are going to bring them up. Oh,
I will join you
excellent.
to shake their hands. And then we'll take a photo.
So, not with us tonight, Jonas Bell. With us, Miles Chatterjee. Lila Korkish. Anna Del Rosso. Nadav Asanapur. And Rona Elan. And Runa Fukuda. Not with us, Justin Fukudomi. And Addison Hahn. A few in a row who aren't here. Sierra Hartwig. Jonah Emanuel, Sarah Joseph, Jacinda King, Samantha Koo, Tyler Lowe, Samantha Locke, Tyler Liu, and Arthur Malari. Hiroki Maruyama. Nicole Moita de Dus, not here. Scarlett Motamed. Nandika Narang. Kylie No, not here. Elijah Nuez. And Shireen Orr. Joshua Parecki. Patrick Pham. Samantha Rank is not here. Leah Saito. Emma Sevilla is not here. Stella Shi is not here. Navya Sinha. Brady Skidmore. Ania Srinivasan. Julia Streeter. Vanessa Vieira. Roman Weissel. Sean Whipke. Iris Wong. Adam Wu. Trevor Yao. Rick Young. Charlene Yu. And Eric Ewan and Vivian Zarowski-Morin. So, thank you.
And one more for Jonas Bell, because I feel like we clapped for everyone.
Okay, Jonas Bell.
toward the center. We'll bring the city council over
Okay.
and
Don't let me.
commemorate.
Not going to forget those.
Cover us with your glory. You are what's now and what's next.
If you're on the app, why don't you come out and do it?
All right. Go Knights on 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Go Knights!
Assuming most of you are 18, so make sure you're all voting. You all to be voting.
That's right. Well registered?
Almost there. Stay for your adoring fans.
One more good nights. 1, 2, 3.
Go Knights! Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you for everything you do. Appreciate it.
Sorry guys, you're gonna go.
Thank you all. We'll move on to our next item in a moment or two. If we could just take a 5-minute recess to let everyone out, I would appreciate it. Thank you. 5-minute recess. Okay, everyone, thank you for your patience as we transition into our next ceremonial item. We are back and we have a proclamation for Fair Housing Month. That's item number 2 on our agenda tonight. I'd like to invite to the podium Laura Diaz, Fair Housing Community Outreach Coordinator. Thank you for being here. I have a proclamation I would like to read on behalf of the city, and then you're free to share anything you'd like in addition. But thank you for joining us, and I have a proclamation here for Fair Housing Month. Whereas adequate housing is a basic need and right of all people, and whereas this year we celebrate the 58th anniversary of the enactment of the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968, Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act, which states that discrimination in the sale and rental of housing is illegal when based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. And whereas the Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988 extends fair housing rights on the basis of familial status to families with children and on the basis of handicap to disabled persons. And whereas California statutes additionally protect citizens on the basis of age, marital status, sexual orientation, gender identity, and source of income. And whereas California celebrates the 66th anniversary of the Fair Employment and Housing Act, or FEHA, and whereas the City of San Mateo supports fair housing efforts to eliminate discrimination in housing and recognizes the benefits of Project Sentinel to educate home seekers, apartment managers, and apartment owners on federal and state housing laws. And whereas, in order to heighten public awareness, the City of San Mateo wishes to focus public attention on April as Fair Housing Month. Now, therefore, I, Adam Lorraine, Mayor of San Mateo, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Fair Housing Month, and do encourage all residents and community organizations to celebrate the value of harmonious and diverse communities of neighbors, and to support the goal of equal housing opportunity for all people. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you to the City of San Mateo and the Mayor for your continued partnership and support of Project Sentinel and fair housing in the community. Fair housing, like you mentioned, is deeply rooted in the civil rights movement. And the protections that we rely on today exist because of that history. While we've made progress, housing discrimination is not a thing of the past. It continues to impact residents, especially during a time when housing challenges are front and center of so many families. Now, more than ever, support for fair housing is essential to creating real solutions that promote access, stability, and opportunity. Project Sentinel is committed to this work every day, addressing housing discrimination one case at a time. To learn more about our services and resources, community members may visit us at housing.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us, and I can take a photo with you with the proclamation and any other council members who wish to join me. Thank you. We have one more ceremonial item tonight, dispatcher appreciation. I'd like to invite to the podium Chief of Police Ed Barberini and our dispatch supervisor, Stacy Foster. Thank you for being here and for approaching. I have one more proclamation. Am I reading this proclamation? Very good. Okay, pardon me. Whereas, when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of public safety personnel is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas, the dedicated public safety dispatchers serve the citizens of the city of San Mateo on a daily basis by answering emergency and non-emergency calls for assistance and coordinating public safety field units. And whereas these career professionals answer over 20,000 911 calls annually. And whereas these professionals measure their success in the lives that are saved by the 911 system each and every day. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety communications professionals work under challenging and stressful circumstances. And whereas public safety communications professionals dedicate their lives and careers to helping others. And whereas in 1991, the United States Congress designated the second week in April as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And whereas California Public Safety Telecommunicators Week will recognize all public safety dispatchers who are an integral part of California's first responder team, who work 24 hours per day, 7 days per week, and serve as the first critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. Now, therefore, I, Adam Lorraine, Mayor of San Mateo, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim April 12th through April 28th, 2026 to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the City of San Mateo in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. First of all, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to recognize an extraordinary group of people. As you know, the men and women of our police department are continually asked to do more under very demanding and challenging circumstances and under a tremendous amount of scrutiny, and our public safety dispatchers are no exception. The sheer volume of calls or work that we ask them to do and the pace that we ask them to do it at is truly incredible, and I don't know how they do it. They do all this knowing that the lives and the safety of not only the residents but our officers on the street depend on what they do, and they do an exceptional job. I could not be more proud. I think we have the finest group of people in any dispatch center. They do care deeply about the community. They care deeply about their jobs and the manner in which they do it. Even with faced with long 12-hour shifts, sitting in the room, answering call after call, and making sure that we're all safe. So I want to thank our true first responders, as we like to call them. We appreciate them for 1 week, but I think most of our officers, if not all of our officers, will let you know that 24 hours a day, we rely on them, and they are appreciated every day of the year. So thank you. I'd like to introduce one of our dispatch supervisor, Stacy Foster, just to kind of recognize her and say a few words.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here to accept this proclamation along with the Chief. Next month marks my 30th year in public safety, and I've been with the City of San Mateo since 2018, and I will say hands down, it is one of the most talented and skilled group of dispatchers with whom I've had the pleasure of working. So I'm very proud to be here to accept this on their behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll take a photo. Thank you, everyone. We are now moving beyond the ceremonial portion of tonight's meeting, which includes the business items being considered by the council. For that reason, I would like to remind all in the room and online that we will be enforcing our rules of decorum. As such, we do not allow for cheering, jeering, or booing during the business portion of the meeting, as this tends to put a chill on public comment. Our goal is to ensure that all perspectives are heard. Our motto is give respect, get respect, and we appreciate your cooperation with this. The next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. City Clerk, may you please read this consent calendar?
With pleasure, Mayor Lorraine. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion without discussion. If discussion is desired, that item may be removed and considered separately. Item number 4, council member, chief of police, and city clerk travel authorization. Item number 5, deputy mayor request for budget reallocation for events, trainings, and conferences for fiscal year 2025-26 approval. Item number 6, Clean Water Program Annual Major Components Dissolved Air Flotation Tank Replacement Agreement. Item number 7, El Camino Real Streetlight Relocation Project Bid Rejection. Item number 8, Main Library Lighting Controls Upgrade. And finally, item number 9, 2026 Annual Investment Policy Approval. And through the mayor, just a brief note about consent calendar item number 4. Since packet publication on Thursday, staff has learned of some scheduling conflicts. So what's being requested for approval here is a council member's authorization to travel for the 101st Airborne, and we will circle back with the council with confirmation of scheduling on that item.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there any member of the council who would like to pull an item for the consent calendar? Nothing online as well. Thank you, City Clerk. If any members of the public would wish to comment on any consent calendar item, now would be the time. Just these items that the City Clerk just read. This is for consent calendar items only. City Clerk, do we have any public comment?
Mayor Lorraine, there is no request to speak on the consent calendar.
Okay, thank you. I will close public comment on the consent calendar. Is there a motion from council to approve?
I motion.
Second.
Thank you. Motion and a second. City Clerk, can you please call roll?
Certainly. Councilmember Svirko-Gaditsky,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Councilmember Diaz-Nash,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Lorraine.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. This will close our consent calendar items, and we'll move on to general public comment. Next on the agenda, members of the public who wish to comment on any item not appearing on our agenda tonight may address the City Council at this time. State law prevents council from taking action on any matter not on the agenda, but your comments may be referred to staff for follow-up. This public comment section is generally limited to a total of 15 minutes. However, that is subject to council's discretion and can be extended if council wishes to do so. If needed, an opportunity for additional public comment may be provided later in the agenda. City Clerk, can you please tally the number of requests to speak on general public comment?
Certainly. As Mayor Lorraine mentioned, we will be accepting requests to speak on general public comment, items not on the agenda. If you wish to speak and have not provided a request to speak slip, we request that you do so now. We will be closing the request to speak period. Mayor Lorraine, that is a total of 14 requests to speak for general public comment. The last speaker I have in chambers will be Michael Reagan, and our last speaker in our virtual environment will be Max Mottner. So per council adopted rules and procedures, that would set the time at 2 minutes per speaker.
Okay.
And we'll begin with our in-person request to speak. We'll start with an organized presentation, which will be the Madrigal family, and that will be a 5-minute organized presentation.
Hello, my name is Brandon Madrigal. I will be speaking on behalf of my family. On March 28, 2026, my dad and 2 younger siblings were walking to Safeway to get snacks to watch a movie at home when they were hit by a vehicle while crossing a marked crosswalk on Delaware and State Street, leaving my 16-year-old sister bruised and in a lot of pain. My 8-year-old brother also in a lot of pain with a fracture in his skull and minor cerebral bleeding. And my dad, who attempting to protect my siblings, sustained much more serious injuries: a dislocation at the shoulder, 6 broken ribs, internal bleeding, and requiring surgery on his femur, along with many other injuries. These last couple of days have been the most mentally, physically, and emotionally draining days of my life. Having to watch my siblings and dad in the hospital, knowing I couldn't do anything to help them, makes me feel defeated as a son and older brother. Having seen my dad lay there on the floor, unable to move, in a puddle of blood, and my younger siblings scared, crying, and in pain, will be something I always remember and wish nobody will have to experience. Although they are in better condition now, taking medication, my dad still has a long recovery ahead of him. I hope what my family and I had experienced can not only bring some positive changes, but also remind everyone to cherish every second of every single day and everyone they care about. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our individual request to speak, where our first, if I call your name, if you could please line up to my right, that'll make sure we get to receive all of the public comments as efficiently as possible. Our first speaker will be Kevin Simpson, followed by Ronald Gulen and Rich Hedges.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, and thank you, Mr. Mayor and honorable members of council. I'm sure you're going to hear tonight from anguished and angry voices. This is not the first time we've come here to talk about this topic, and I'm afraid that with the way things are going, it won't be the last. Just a few months ago, a lady was killed in a similar accident over by the Safeway at 17th Avenue. Just a block from where the Madrigal family tragedy occurred, we had a lady killed in a crosswalk. There's been no changes at either one of those crosswalks. We have a long list of safety needs to address in this community. What I'm asking this council to do tonight is to look in your hearts and ask yourselves, is this a crisis? Something's different. This is happening too often, and it's tearing people and families in our community apart. We've got to do something different. And in a crisis, what you do is you set aside the normal ways that you act on things, and you start looking for more comprehensive, thorough, and deep meaning and structure to how you're going to respond. And I believe that's what this council has to do. We have to look at everything. Do we have enough of our budget allocated to enforce traffic controls? Speeding, distracted driving, and everything are out of control. The ground is shifted under our feet. Are we going to keep spending money on frivolous things like the year that occupied our traffic engineering department looking for a way to route bike lanes down 2 narrow streets? Or are we going to really focus on the things that we know will make a difference? It's time to set things aside and raise this to the level of crisis that it is. And we've asked you this before, and we're asking it now.
Thank you.
Please do that.
Thank you. Our next 3 speakers will be Ronald Gulen, followed by Rich Hedges and Belinda Hanson.
Good evening, Mayor Council. My name is Ronald Guillen. I'm here to formally place the City of San Mateo on actual notice of life safety violation and administrative failure at 2910 Edison Street. Specifically, 46 feet of main sewer infrastructure was recently replaced and immediately buried under concrete prior to any city's inspection. In an email sent to me this Friday, the building department admitted that this work was illegally concealed. They also admitted their public permit portal, which shows the project only 4% complete, is inaccurate. When the city owns safety tracking system fails, the lives of everybody at the resident building are compromised. The department intends to run a pressure test this week. Council, the pressure test is insufficient. This gravity-fed sewer line, a pressure test only checks for leaks. It cannot verify the slope or grade of a pipe that is out hidden under concrete. Most concerning is the confirmed involvement of San Mateo Public Works employee Carlos Martinez at the illegal job site. An issue city admits is now with human resources. When the city official is present at the site to bypass safety protocols, it's no longer a civil matter, it's administrative collusion, and it creates a massive tort liability for the administration. To mitigate this liability and resort to public trust, I am asking the council to enforce the power to uncover under CBC 109.1, require the landlord to expose the 46 feet sewer lines and so the slope and the bedding can physically verify it, and the city inspector before any further work proceeds. investigate the conflict of interest involving Carlos Martinez, direct the city manager, provide full report on why a public works official was present at an active, unpermitted private construction project that bypassed city safety codes, ensure the transparency in HR investigation, halt any re-rental of the building, order that the new tenants or final approvals occur until the permit is 100% complete and entire building drainage is verified safe for all households to household occupants.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next three speakers will be Rich Hedges, followed by Belinda Hanson and Claudia Argote.
Good evening, Mayor Lorraine and City Council members. I'm here tonight to talk about safety. We've had so many incidents, I've already heard them discussed tonight, but I want to bring one that caused a death. Veronica Lopez, say her name. I say it occasionally to keep her memory alive. A woman who was the center of a large family, took care of her 95-year-old mother, and was the main breadwinner with a husband that was in his 70s. She's gone. She didn't own a car. She took the bus. Things we ask people to do. Yet, for lack of a 30-second delay on left-hand turns at 17th and El Comodo, she is dead. I'm asking you to give a report on your discussions with Caltrans on that intersection. It has to be done. I think it's the most dangerous intersection in the city. There is nothing we can do to stop people from being distracted, to driving recklessly because they want to, but there is ways that we can make these streets safer. We know what they are, and we need to do it. And a simple 30-second delay crossing, turning left for drivers will make that street safe enough to use. I'm there all the time. I have several businesses I deal with. I'm really frightened when I cross there. Go there and cross during rush hour and see what you think. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next three speakers will be Belinda Hanson, followed by Claudia Argote and Lena Kudenmar.
Hi. I live on Village Terrace. I'm 2 blocks from State Street in Delaware, where one of these many accidents happened, the 3 families. There was also a fatality about 2 years ago on Peninsula in Delaware. That neighborhood in general has gotten very dangerous. I'm a pedestrian and I cross that intersection almost every day to go to our neighborhood Safeway there. And I'm getting very afraid to cross the street. Same with El Camino. Today I took the bus after I came to find out how to come to this meeting at El Camino and 20th. I went all the way to Hillsdale Mall to take the 292 bus to go back to my neighborhood the other way, just so I didn't have to cross El Camino to catch the bus. It's getting terrorizing. I'm not as educated as everybody else that's spoken in front of me. I've never done anything like this. But I want to take this opportunity to speak and say, please help us. We do need to make these streets a lot safer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next three speakers will be Claudia Argote, followed by Lena Kudenmar and Donald Yu.
Hi, good evening. Buenas noches. My name is Claudia Argote and I live in 530 State Street, where the family member got, his father got run over. And this is not the first time that this happened in our street. I think the only, and I plead to you guys to put maybe some speed bumps, some lights, because that intersection is very dangerous, especially for the kids that go to high school there. I went to San Mateo High School and I seen so many accidents. I walk always with my dogs and it's very dangerous street. I plead to you to go and walk that street to see what it feels like. The drivers always speeding up, not doing the double stops. It's very unsafe, and this is not the first time that this happens, and I wish you guys to pay close attention to our street. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next three speakers will be Lena Kudenmar, followed by Donald Yu and Ruth Anderson.
Hi everyone, my name's Lena. I've been a resident of San Mateo for about 3 years. While living at Villa Terrace before this year, I had to take an unprotected left turn onto San Mateo Drive every single day. And I was always worried about getting hit by oncoming cars, and I had even witnessed a 2-car accident at that intersection. After moving to State Street this year, I was relieved to find a place nearby that felt more residential. I was excited by an easier start to my morning commute and the convenience of walking to Safeway. But after moving in, we met neighbors who immediately told us how dangerous the North Delaware and State Street intersection is. Now, turning left onto North Delaware every morning has been harder than my experience at Villa Terrace due to the lack of visibility and the cars that speed. Just a few months into our new lease, my partner and I heard Mr. Sandoval and his kids get struck by a car from our window the night of March 28th. I'm here today in support of that family and to make it known that I want something to be done at this intersection. San Mateo is often considered one of the more walkable cities in Bay Area. To those visiting downtown, that might feel true. But to those of us that are living here, we see how much work needs to be done before the entire city can really be walkable. I hope the recent outcry from neighbors shows you that the community wants to be heard. We need your cooperation in making conditions better at every San Mateo intersection, not just the ones that receive attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next 3 speakers will be Donald Yu, followed by Ruth Anderson and Mike Swire.
Hello, my name is Donald, and I live on State Street. I use the North Delaware intersection daily to jog and shop at the Safeway across the street. And every time I have to cross this intersection, it's really hard for me to see oncoming cars. I have to step into the street and peek deep in order to see how fast cars are coming. And if I'm having difficulty seeing cars, imagine how hard it is for drivers to see me. I have this rule where I need to make direct eye contact with the driver, acknowledge them, and then acknowledge me, and then I cross. Sometimes I'm waiting for a while at that cross section. And other times, the drivers will make eye contact with me, but they still continue driving fast past me, ignoring me. It's so dangerous crossing this intersection. And after witnessing the accident's aftermath on March 28th, it makes sense why that tragedy happened. Why do we have to live like this? We need something done to this intersection now, not later. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next 3 speakers will be Ruth Anderson, followed by Mike Swire and Seema Patel.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Ruth. I live at Woodlake Condominiums at 814 North Delaware, right by State Street. I did not see the accident, but I saw all the aftermath from my window, and I was deeply affected by it. I saw Mr. Madrigal lying on the street, on the ground, and I heard crying, and I heard screaming, and I immediately realized that something needs to change. I lived at Woodlake less than a year, but I've always been scared exiting Woodlake onto North Delaware, either making a left or a right. Scared as a driver that I might, that because of the speed of the cars going, especially northbound, but also southbound. Scared as a pedestrian trying to cross State Street, even in mid-morning, quiet weekdays. And just scared as a resident there that another horrible accident is going to happen after the one that we just experienced. I implore the council if there's some way we could get some sort of emergency stop sign or something to calm that particular area, which is especially vulnerable, I think. And looking at it, there are 2 lanes going northbound that immediately, 1 lane rather, that immediately widens to 2 lanes right at that where the crosswalk where the accident happened. There's also signs telling drivers that the school slowdown zone has ended. So I think it's very natural as a driver to speed up right where the accident happened. And I can imagine it as a driver myself, the temptation to speed up and the tragedy happening. So I definitely would appreciate the council's efforts to try to do all we can to make that particular spot and other spots that are very dangerous much safer. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Our next 3 speakers will be Mike Swire, followed by Seema Patel and David Hunt.
Hi, members of council. Thanks so much for hearing me and for your service to the community. We're standing here tonight because the streets of San Mateo, and especially those in North Central, have become a gauntlet for the people who live here. In January, we lost Veronica Vasquez, a grandmother of 3, at 17th and El Camino. She was doing everything right. She was in a crosswalk. In 2024, we lost Yolanda Villar at Peninsula in Delaware, a block from this crash site. She was a single mother and a protector for her special needs daughter. She was also in a crosswalk. And 9 days ago, at Delaware and State in North Central, we learned that Ramon Sandoval, a father and his 2 children, 8 and 16 years old, were mowed down in another crosswalk. This is not normal, this is violence, and it is predictable. Over the last week, residents have flooded the city with 1,200 emails. They had a single desperate question. Why? Why, when the city's own data flagged Delaware as a high injury corridor years ago, did we do nothing? Why did the city not act when I emailed them about this danger on Delaware in June of 2023? Why was there no action when a driver hit a teen in this exact spot less than 2 years ago? I'll tell you why. It's because we've placed other priorities more highly. For the past 2 years, the council has prioritized parking availability in North Central over the safety of many residents. As a result, the city has diverted precious public works staff and hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars into a quest to remove safety infrastructure just to satisfy or attempt to satisfy an insatiable craving for free parking. Every hour that a city staffer spent studying how to add more parking was an hour they weren't spending responding to resident concerns of pedestrian safety at Delaware and State. We could have been doing quick builds, and we could have prevented this Sandoval family tragedy from happening. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Our next 3 speakers will be Seema Patel, followed by David Hunt and Michael Reagan.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I want to note that I'm currently serving on the Planning Commission, but I'm speaking tonight in my own capacity as a resident. The first thing I want to do is actually thank the City Council for how responsive you've been about this issue. I know that you've heard from a lot of residents, and I know that you have been responding with the city's plan for near-term improvements at this intersection. So I want to thank both you and the city for taking steps to address this intersection as quickly as possible. I want to echo some of Kevin Simpson's comments and say that I think we need a more systematic approach. And as I've been walking around that site over the past few days, what struck me is how similar that condition is to Franklin Parkway, where a 3-year-old was nearly hit by a speeding car a few years ago. It's 2 lanes of traffic that approach a crosswalk. And what's unique about this spot is, as someone else noted, it expands to 2 lanes right before the crosswalk. When I was there the other day, none of the cars to me seemed to be going the speed limit. I was going the speed limit. And at that place where it expanded to 2 lanes, people started zooming around me on the right to pass me. And I could see how easily, because the distance is so short, someone doing that would miss a pedestrian stepping into the crosswalk, especially with the cars that are parked along the curb there. So my ask of you is, 1, to make sure that we're budgeting our quick build improvements, but also to, when these incidents happen, to consider what other locations in the city are similar and make sure we're addressing all of them at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next 2 speakers will be David Hunt, followed by Michael Reagan.
Good evening.
Sorry, David, real quick. Okay. Just checking to make sure everything's working. Thank you.
It's heartbreaking to hear the families speak of the impact this crash has had on them. And it's especially heartbreaking to hear the impact it's had on their young kids. I can't help but think of my kids when I hear of it, as I'm sure many of us do. And my kids go to school a few blocks from where the crash happened. It's a super busy area. There has been some positive change in that area in recent years, but it's been too slow and just not enough. I think we all know San Mateo has great plans for safe streets. We've seen them. They're there. They're great. We're not moving quickly enough on them, and we need a better way to respond, echoing what Kevin Simpson mentioned and what Seema just mentioned. When tragedies like this happen, there's other cities in our region that have policies of how to respond when a tragedy occurs. So we don't have to hear a crash happened at the same exact intersection a few years ago. We should step up. We should learn from what those other cities have. We should have a quick build response policy that sets goals and timelines. And we should come up with a way to get the budget to respond to these tragedies so we can be sure they don't happen again. Thanks.
Thank you. And our final speaker in chambers will be Michael Reagan.
Good evening. Michael Reagan, 48 years, resident of San Mateo. I don't put the blame on you guys. We shouldn't put the blame on the way people drive and the problem of people not paying attention. But I do find some blame in the fact, Danielle, you weren't on the council at the time, that for $10,000 you could have the traffic state certification, which still isn't in place, needs to be done, should have been done. But what we can do is solve the problem. We need to increase the police force, our traffic patrol. I attended the police academy, and one of the things they mentioned was they don't have enough traffic enforcement. We need to get that, and we need to be able to allow our police officers to write tickets and make people aware that San Mateo is cracking down on this kind of behavior, and we're not. The other thing we can do is you guys put in a 15 mile an hour speed limit around the schools, but it's not working. Nobody goes 15. Put speed bumps all the way through in all this different school areas. That'll reduce the speed. On a more personal note, in my neighborhood, I've lost 4 cars in the last several years. 4 cars totaled. 3 in front of my house. One, somebody T-boned me a block away from my house. My wife and I suffered injuries, so I know what these people are going through. It's not any fun. But I've asked Adam, where is our traffic light at Hillsdale and Alameda? I've been working on that for 9 years, still not in. And the work in and around the high school at Hillsdale has not been completed. It needs to be done.
Thank you.
As with all these other improvements. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Moving to our virtual environment, where our first speaker will be Kolja. Kolja, please unmute your mic.
Good evening, Council. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
First of all, I would like to echo all speakers here tonight who were asking for safety improvements to streets in San Mateo. This is badly needed. Please prioritize this. Secondly, I would like to ask the Council tonight to take an official position on tomorrow's County Supervisor discussion regarding the county purchase of the former Star Vista Sobering Center site in Burlingame, with the intention of relocating the proposed Horizon Treatment Facility from 101 North El Camino Real there. While our county district supervisor has chosen not to meaningfully engage with her constituents on the matter, her colleagues are now advancing a viable alternative. By any reasonable measure, this site is a far better fit. It previously operated as a sobering center, is appropriately located, and offers a path forward that aligns both operationally and with community support. This is a real opportunity to achieve the best outcome for both the county and surrounding communities. A treatment facility at scale in a location where it can succeed without pushback. If you support treatment, this should be the logical choice. Please ensure that the voice of San Mateo residents are clearly represented at tomorrow's Board of Supervisors meeting by taking a position in support of the Mahler Road acquisition proposal and relocation of the Horizon site. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our next speaker, Max Mottner. Max, please unmute your mic.
Yeah, hello. My name is Max Moutner, and I patronize the Safeway that Ramon Sandoval and his children were trying to reach last week when they were hit by a driver. And I'm here to urge the council to prioritize quick build safety interventions on the North Delaware corridor. 7 months ago, Yolanda VR was killed at the end of the block at Peninsula, and San Mateo High School is on the same corridor as well, which is a street with 1,500 students moving through it all school year long, and 2 critical collisions in under a year. I'm a new parent in the city too, and I'll be honest, I've watched neighbors mobilize significant political energy around the Horizon Sobering Center on El Camino, and I understand that instinct. But as someone raising an infant here, car crashes are a much more statistically immediate threat to my family's safety than that facility. I'd love to see that same energy directed at our city streets that have now killed one of our neighbors, several of our neighbors. Rich Hedges mentioned the one, Veronica Vasquez on El Camino, and put a father in the ICU, all in a year. This area also is impacted by the train crossing closures at Villa Terrace and Bellevue, so I'm hoping the city takes those into account as traffic patterns in this neighborhood change in the next year or two. The harder systemic issue is that our streets are still engineered to prioritize vehicle throughput. and changing that requires political will as much as it requires money. I know the Quick Build program doesn't have a dedicated funding source in an enduring fashion, and I know the city is carrying a structural deficit. So my specific ask is to direct staff to identify an interim local funding source for immediate Quick Build deployment and simultaneously begin an HSIP application for grant money for permanent improvements. The crash history here is exactly what that federal program grant application is designed to fund. So the two tracks can run in parallel.
Thank you. Thank you. And our final speaker on general public comment will be Allison McQueen. Allison, please unmute your mic.
Hello, good evening, City Council. Thank you to all who have spoken out tonight for safer streets in San Mateo in support of the Sandoval Madrigal family. Tonight feels like another Groundhog Day. Yet again, we are here asking for the city's support to make an intersection safe, Delaware and state. What's become obvious to me over the past few years is that San Mateo has a long safety backlog. We can't keep playing whack-a-mole with each intersection when there is a crash. Our citizens are getting whacked by cars faster than the city can keep up. What we need you, the City Council, to do is to prioritize completing the San Mateo safety backlog and execute the pedestrian and bicycle master plans. And that means making major changes from how things are done today. This requires a major restructuring of priorities, reducing funding in other parts of the city budget to fund a quick build fund to perform Safe Streets work at a much faster pace than we are seeing today. San Mateo is at a code red moment. It's time for a change. Let's make it happen.
Thank you. Mayor Lorraine, that concludes public comment, and through the mayor, Deputy Mayor Fernandez wishes to be recognized.
Okay. You are recognized, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I apologize that my camera's off. I am finishing up my Easter holidays with my family out of town. And so just thank you for everybody who's there tonight. Thank you very much for being there. Unfortunately, I can't address what occurred in any detail because it has not been agendized, but I just wanted to say very briefly that my sympathies go out to Brandon Madrigal, Ramon Sandoval, Ramon Jr., and Maria, and all of those who were involved in the incident at Delaware and State. I live not 2 blocks from that intersection. I'm the council member that directly represents North Central, and I live at Claremont and Grand. And so I have to cross that same crosswalk whenever I go to Safeway for my weekly groceries, just like so many of you who live in North Central. I've put some pressure on city staff to put in some interim pedestrian protections at Delaware and State, and I'd like to thank them for moving so quickly. And I'd also like to ask City Manager Kajikian to update all of those watching on what is happening at that intersection and what steps we are taking immediately and sort of in the long run to increase pedestrian safety at that intersection and at Delaware and Peninsula as a whole.
Thank you. At this time, I would just look to staff to see if they would wish to comment on public comment.
Yeah, happy to comment. So I want to first thank the residents this evening who spoke during public comment. And just before I provide an update on how we're addressing transportation safety, I want to just acknowledge that for our community, any one accident is too many here. And roadway safety is an ongoing priority for the city of San Mateo. And I'm going to highlight just kind of where we're at with some projects and initiatives that the city is taking on. So first and foremost, just at Delaware and State Street at the intersection there, near term, we are procuring right now light beacons, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and shortened crossings with high visibility striping delineators. That's the first step that we'll be doing in the near term. And I'm hoping that, I'm looking at Matt Fabry, but I'm hoping that it's in the next 8 to 10 weeks. Is that correct, Matt?
Good evening, Public Works Director Matt Fabry. I think the biggest issue is the procurement of the rapid rectangular flashing beacons. That's the thing that has a longer lead time. So we're hoping that at the most it would be 3 to 4 months, but we'll get it done as soon as we can get the equipment.
Well, in the meantime, I'm still just right here live directing you to go ahead and put A-frame signs out there to make it even more visible for the public as well. So in the near term, until we can get those rapid lighting beacons, I'd like to see that out there ASAP this week. Just capital improvements, just overall follow-up. We're looking at extending the curb cuts out, so basically having bulb outs to shorten the crosswalk in this area as well. And really, we're looking at new curb ramps, ADA curb ramps, and also doing some daylighting to get clear lines of sight, and also including yellow high visibility crosswalks, as I mentioned previously. Long range, if you look at our local roadway safety plan, well, I guess it's the bike master plan in this case, we're looking at having bike lanes going from State Street to Peninsula. But also just speaking to, I heard a speaker talk about just what happens with similar intersections. That's our local roadway safety plan, that this council adopted that plan, and that we are looking to make improvements at similar intersections in our community as well. Just let's focus on North Central. We have a significant focus here in North Central. One is really looking at the $400,000 that we're investing for street lighting and traffic calming on Humboldt that council gave direction just a couple months ago. We also are looking at $450,000 for pedestrian safety enhancements along our school and senior walking routes in North Central. We have $550,000 for protected left turns at Poplar and Humboldt. This is local roadway safety plan priority number 2 that the council has approved. We're also working on $1 million for pedestrian improvements at the Peninsula and Delaware intersection. This is part of our local roadway safety plan priority. We're also completing traffic surveys by this June. We heard that from the public, and so that'll be going into effect then. We've also reorganized our entire transportation team to add staffing. The council approved that a couple meetings ago. And with that, the council also adopted a strategic plan last fall, and transportation is one of the top 4 priorities for this council to take on. You know, and just citywide, we just continue working on transportation all across this city. And I know that we've reported out at previous council meetings $24 million investments. That's now up to $40 million investments throughout this city. And that's utilizing grant awards, and we'll continue to go after grants and also local funding, including just doing our quick build program as well. And that is annually also funded by staff, or by the council, but recommended by staff as part of your capital improvement program budget. While the city moves forward on all these infrastructure projects, our San Mateo Police Department is conducting enforcement and education on a daily basis. And this includes specific patrols and enforcement throughout the city in highly trafficked areas. Safety is a shared responsibility, and we urge everyone to respect traffic controls. And so just to close out here, we value the community's advocacy and remain dedicated to a transparent ongoing dialogue as we work together to make San Mateo safer for all. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. At this point, that concludes general public comment, and I thank everybody for joining us. I echo the sympathies toward the families as well, and I believe that is shared by the council, and we appreciate your being here and sharing your comments. We'll now move on to our next item of business. Item number 10. Status of vacancies in recruitment and retention efforts, Assembly Bill 2561, Government Code 3502.3, public hearing. We have a presentation from Aracelia Esparza, Director of Human Resources. Thank you, Director Esparza, and welcome.
Great. Good evening, Mayor Lorraine and council members. Aracelia Esparza, Human Resources Director. The purpose of my presentation is to present the status of vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts for the city of San Mateo. I'm going to start by providing a quick overview of AB 2561. Then I will present citywide information, including an overview of our workforce, vacancy and recruitment information, the hiring challenges we are facing and suggestions on how to address these challenges, and citywide retention information. Then I will present vacancy information per bargaining unit. AB 2561 aims to address the challenges with vacancies in the public sector, requiring annual disclosure of workforce data. Assembly Bill 2561 became effective on January 1st of 2025. This bill requires public agencies to make a public hearing presentation before the governing board on an annual basis prior to the budget being approved. During the presentation, the following must be included: the status of vacancies, recruitment and retention efforts, and any necessary changes to policy, procedures, recruitment activities that may lead to obstacles in the hiring process. If the vacancy rate is 20% or more in a bargaining unit, the following information on this slide must also be presented. I am pleased to report that all bargaining units in the city have vacancy rates below 20%. The city of San Mateo has 551.5 full-time equivalent positions with 170 different job classifications. 96 of our workforce is represented by one of the 7 unions associations listed on this slide. As you can see, the majority of our employees are represented by the San Mateo City Employees Association with 28%, followed by the San Mateo Management Employees Association and Police Officers Association with 22%, followed by SAU Maintenance with 19%. 83% of our workforce lives in the surrounding counties, San Mateo, San Francisco, and Alameda. 300 of our employees live in San Mateo County. That's almost 60%. In 2025, the city created a total of 3.5 new positions. In 2025, we filled a total of 110 positions. As of January 19th, 2026, we had a total of 36.5 vacancies. The number of vacancies fluctuates every month. Therefore, we had to select a date and time for this presentation. Again, we have a total of 551.5 FTE positions. As of January 19th, 2026, our vacancy rate was 6.6%. This slide represents vacancies per department. As you can see, the majority of the city's vacancies are in the Public Works Department with 19 vacancies. We do anticipate filling 5 vacancies in the next couple of months. In 2025, we filled a total of 110 positions using the different methods of appointments: existing eligible lists, ongoing recruitments, external, internal recruitments, internal only recruitments or promotional only, and reemployment. On this slide, we have the number of vacancies filled and the average number of calendar days it took to fill vacancies per method of appointment. I want to point out that we experienced some challenges with gathering the data on the average number of days to fill vacancies, as the Eden system used in 2025 was not automated and the data was captured manually. Also, I want to note that the reason for the delays in filling certain positions were due to positions being placed on hold for various reasons, including positions being reviewed, reorganizations, and individuals working out of class. As you can see, it takes a longer time to fill vacancies when opening an external internal recruitment, a little over 6 months compared to approximately 3 months for promotional recruitments. Okay, now I'm going to review the hiring process. Once a vacancy is created, the hiring manager submits a recruitment requisition to fill the position. Once approved, the recruitment method is determined and the advertisement begins. Applications are screened for minimum qualifications. The majority of our examinations are oral only. However, we do have some that may have a written or performance component. Those that pass the examination are placed on the eligible list. The hiring manager will interview and select from that list. A conditional job offer is made to the selected candidate pending background and medical clearances. Once all has cleared, an official offer is made and the candidate is provided with a start date. The city continues to review our policies and procedures and recruitment activities to identify any potential challenges that we might have with our city hiring process. The city has identified the following challenges for 2025: a delay in the recruitment and examination and selection process due to various factors, which I discussed a little earlier, need to continue to enhance our recruitment activities and increase participation in outreach events. Earlier in 2025, there were some classifications that were not linked to a benchmark classification. The city did initiate a benchmark classification study. As a result, a city-wide total compensation survey methodology was agreed upon by all the bargaining units and approved by council on February 23rd of 2026. Another challenge was opening of the new wastewater treatment plant and operating 2 plants simultaneously, which contributed to a delay in the hiring process for the Public Works Department. Thank you. All right, so suggestions on how to address these challenges. We are going to continue to review each phase of the recruitment and selection process, identify these challenges and barriers that may exist, and make recommendations to streamline the process. Implement the recruitment and outreach plan, which was developed a few months ago, and in hope that we could increase our efforts to increase our candidate pool. Continue to set salaries for benchmark classifications to median based on the total compensation surveys during contract negotiations when feasible. Develop a formal employee recognition and rewards program to motivate and retain employees. There are certain things, obviously, that we have no control, and unfortunately, the city's unable to address the cost of living and any unpredictable outside factors that may exist. We had a total of 85.5 vacancies in 2025. 4% of these vacancies were due to staffing growth. We had 3.5 newly developed positions. 40% was due to internal opportunities. The city promoted 34 employees. 15% was due to attrition. We had 7 retirements and 6 involuntary separations. 41% of the 85.5 vacancies are due to turnover or voluntary separations. Here we see the vacancy rate per bargaining units as of January 19th of 2026. The Police Officers Association, Policy Sergeants Unit, Safety Management Association, and SEIU Library had no vacancies. For the San Mateo Management Employees Association, 7 out of 116 positions were vacant. This was a 6% vacancy rate for this association. San Mateo City Employees Association, 10.4% vacancy rate, and SEIU Maintenance, 12.6%. This slide provides a comparison between 2024 and 2025. As you can see, full-time equivalent positions increased from 548 FTEs to 551.5. Our total vacancies decreased from 121 to 85.5. Our vacancy rate, which I'm very proud of, decreased from 11.5 to 6.6%. Voluntary separations also decreased from 44 to 35. Our turnover rate decreased overall from 8% to 6.3%, As you can see, we are clearly moving in the right direction. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, due to the public hearing structure, we're going to follow staff presentation with a presentation from an employee organization.
Hello, council members. Thank you so much. Thank you, Arcelia. Thank you, City Manager Alex. We are just going to present on all of the SEIU units this evening. We do want to give the city, if you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. We do want to give the city some credit. A lot of the vacancy data has been getting better. The vacancy rate is better than last year. Maintenance unit is still the highest vacancy rate of any city department, however. And if you could go to the next slide for me real quick, really the biggest issue though is that retention continues to be a problem. Speaking quickly on the financials for the city, so obviously there are some financial headwinds. However, the city still does have 8 months worth of unrestricted funds in the general fund. And the union also does want the city to know that we would be eager to be partners on the vehicle license fund issue. We understand that this is a legitimate financial concern for the city, and we would be eager to discuss opportunities to partner with the city to secure that money. And with that,
you can go next slide, please. 1 year ago, I was bringing attention to the incredibly high turnover rate in our unit, and despite the best efforts by the city council, the problem still persists. The problem of retention is not due to bad management, it is due to low pay. I have only good things to say about the people running the city. Alex and Araceli are creating an inclusive environment where employees can be heard. Matt Fabry and Rob Learmoff are fostering a culture of respect where employees are appreciated. The reason that people leave is financial. We can make significantly more money working for neighboring cities and other organizations. I can personally attest to this dynamic. I quit working for the city of San Mateo last fall. I quit for a position that paid 20% more. That kind of money cannot be ignored. But money isn't everything, and I came back to the city. This is my city, and it is where I belong. Can you change the slide? However, living in the city of San Mateo is hard. Costs are high, and the American dream we all strive for is outside of our reach. You can help. You can help us feed our families. You can help us achieve financial security. You can help us build a future where we're not merely surviving, but thriving.
Good evening, Council. I'm Paul Vaughn. I'm a librarian at the main library and have been for almost 21 years. Echoing on what they said about the financial aspect, the city's just started bargaining talks with the library merit and per diem units, and we were not surprised. We've been telling the city for years that our wages were far below other comparable libraries, and the comparable surveys that were provided to us showed that overall, the library was 20% below, so we are 20% below median compared to other libraries in the area. This is a big issue for both retention and recruitment. We just lost a senior library assistant last month who got a job at Redwood City paying just over $5 an hour more for the same position. So as we go into negotiations, I hope the city will address that issue. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jillian Collins. I am a library assistant 1 per diem. I'm here because I'm speaking on behalf of the per diem employees in the library unit. One of the first things I want to point out is that the majority of per diem employees at the library do not just work at the San Mateo Public Library. We work at additional libraries in the area. We cannot make a living wage at a place we love. So I would urge the council to please explore creating full-time positions out of these per diem positions. You also will not lose any knowledge or have to train people if you create these positions. I would also like to mention that it was an outrage, but not a surprise, that we saw that we were being paid as low as we were. And I would just like to say that it was very discouraging, but it will not discourage us from continuing to do the best we can. And we do look forward to working with you on addressing these issues. Thank you.
And then if you go to the next slide, or you just do, can you go to the last slide? Okay, yeah, thank you. Perfect. Oh, and then, so again, understanding the financial situation, we did just want to offer some free solutions to improve employee retention. We want to briefly speak on schedules. 980, 410 schedules are very in demand, especially amongst the public works unit, and that might help in fixing the streets, the traffic issues that we've talked about, getting those folks out a little bit earlier. And also there's support from the department for barracks at the treatment plant, which again can reduce commutes, burnout, and improve retention. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to the organization for its presentation. At this point, I will open public comment for this item.
Mayor Lorraine, we have not received any requests to speak on this item.
Thank you. I will now close public comment on this item and bring it to council to see if they have any questions or comments related to what we've heard so far. Councilmember Diaz-Nash.
Thank you through the mayor. And thank you, Araceli, for the presentation. And thank you to everyone out there for all you do and coming here on a Monday night when you all probably got work in the morning. I guess one of the things I'm always interested in, number one, I'm excited to see the progress that we're making. And thank you very much for the comments that you made about the partnership that city manager and our director are really trying to build. And I know they've said the same about you. So I appreciate that environment. What have you learned, both from your own vast experience as well as what you've seen here, about things that other cities might be doing to either speed up vacancy recruitments or how we approach things? I mean, is there anything more we should be doing that you're planning on doing or you would like to see us do?
Right. One of the things that I'm looking forward to do is there we go. One of our initiatives is to take a look and digest the different HR processes that we have and be able to identify what are some of the challenges and obstacles and make some changes, right? Whether it's an internal process or whether it's a procedure or whether it's a role. So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward in hopefully digesting and hopefully speed up the process. The other thing that I learned over the last year was is how we organize human resources is very important. And one of the things that we have done is we have restructured where instead of having specialized individuals perform certain functions, now instead of having one person do recruitment, now we have an entire team, which makes a big difference. The other component is having a recruitment and outreach plan where we didn't have anything formal. And what I've learned is that we need to collaborate and partner up, not just within our own departments, within our own city departments, but also with different stakeholders to come up with a plan in terms of how we're going to recruit, whether it's for general recruitment or whether it's for hard to recruit positions, and be able to attend and put the city of San Mateo out there and do outreach campaign. Why do people want to come and work for the city of San Mateo? We need to be involved in the career events. We need to be out there in the community events and get the word out there. I think that's very important. And develop these partnerships and develop programs. We are going to be developing programs, and one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is developing a fellowship program where we could bring talent into the workplace. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And I would also, when you were talking about outreach, it looks like you have a lot of potential partners sitting in the audience tonight who would have a lot of good feedback as to where those opportunities might be. So I would strongly encourage everyone, all good ideas are welcome.
Absolutely.
So that's excellent. So I will stop it right here and share with someone else.
Thank you. Councilmember Sphirko-Guditsky.
Thank you for the presentation. This question's probably more for the city manager. Could you share an update on where we are with VLF and funding?
Yes. So on VLF, this past year was the first year that we did not get the full payment from the state of California. They are, by law, supposed to provide 100% of VLF funds to the city. And so we were on tap to receive 6.6 million, but I believe we got, where's Abby? 2.2 million shy, right, Abby? 2.2 million short. And so with that, we have to utilize reserves to go ahead and plug that hole. Did you want me to talk more about VLF or just all other funding? Okay, I'll give you a precursor because it's going to come to the council for the study session on April 20th. And I'm hoping that everyone will tune in so that they can hear our financial state as a city. So just on the funding side, so first and foremost, I know in the presentation you saw 89% unassigned. We can actually put up a PowerPoint slide here that's not 89% unassigned. There's actually assignments for all these funds. I'm happy to share that with SEIU so they can see exactly where all those monies that we have in reserves are actually assigned to. In addition to that, we are looking at, just with our future forecasts over the next 10 years, $7 million deficits by not doing anything right now. Now, the council has directed staff to look at exploring a revenue measure for this upcoming November, and that would bring in $7 million annually if it were to be successful. So in addition, so we got 7 million in VLF we've lost. We have a structural deficit of 7 million. And then on top of that, there's this new proposition that just received 1.3 million signatures in the state of California. They need 850,000 signatures for it to get on the ballot. But this would actually get rid of the city's real property transfer tax, which is an existential threat for our city. This is talking about we budget $10 million annually for our real property transfer tax. This is the sale of homes and sale of commercial properties. And should that pass in November, then we're going to have to really go back to the drawing board overall regarding our financial condition as a city. And so it's a sobering thing to have that discussion, but it's something that we'll be bringing to the council to really show you that next year at this time, you could potentially, if everything goes negative, you're looking at least a minimum of $24 million annually in a deficit. And that's year after year after year. And so when you look at just the unassigned reserve, even if we are, I think it's 117, well, it's not unassigned, it's the reserve. It's a total of 117 million, 119 million. When you're looking at clips of 24 to 25 million a year, that's gone really quickly. And so we are working on a financial sustainability plan as a city organization. The council has directed staff to work on that. And so that's why you were talking about even billboards. I know I heard from the public, hey, this is paltry, these numbers, but every bit counts. It's every single penny we're looking at to try to increase revenues for our organization so that we can be sustainable, so we can provide the great services that our staff already does day in and day out for our community. But money comes in and money goes out. And so we have to balance the budget too at the same time. We're able to do deficit spending in lean years, but there's only so much that we can do. And so that's something that we have to really look at long term. And so with that, we're going to try our best. We're looking at our financial sustainability plan, looking at increasing revenues. We're also looking at belt tightening. And that was something that we showed the council, I think, at the mid-year budget. Abby, it's $3 million. We already belt tightened so far this year. Yeah, about $3 million right there. And then in addition to that, we're looking at how we can increase revenues, like the parking on the 6th floor over at our second El Camino garage, bringing in new revenue off of our real estate portfolio as well. It was sitting there vacant previously. And we're also really looking at grant opportunities. That's why the council gave approval to get grant writing consultants to help us out. But we can't rely just on those one-time funds for ongoing activities. So one-time funds are used for one-time activities. Ongoing revenues are used for ongoing activities. And so I just gave you really a short snapshot of what you're going to see at your special city council meeting on April 20th. So I just gave you a really Cliff Notes version there.
Yeah, thank you very much. And then I did just want to commend Arcelia on getting the vacancy rate down to 6%. I'm just curious what you feel is an appropriate or healthy number.
Well, I definitely want to make sure that it stays below 7%. I think 6% is a really good number. If you look at other counties and other cities, I mean, you have individuals that are in vacancy rates are 15%. Some of them are even 20%. So I think we're in a very good shape.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Just checking if the deputy mayor has her hand up or not. Sorry, I can't tell. Okay, it appears not. So that's fine. If she does, you can let me know. Thank you. Very good. And I just have a question or two. Director Esparza, you had a slide in your presentation that noted that we have experienced some delays due to various factors, but I wondered if you could speak a little more to what we've witnessed. I think you touched on a little, but maybe
Sure.
you could just clarify to help me.
Sure. Some positions are not always filled right away. When they become vacant, it's an opportunity for the department to look at those positions and determine whether or not there's an operational need for restructuring, reorganizations, maintaining the same classification. Is there a need to reclassify? So at times there could be a delay because the department might be in the process of reevaluating that classification. Another reason why sometimes it may not necessarily be filled right away is because there might be somebody working out of class in that capacity, pending the recruitment being opened, right? So it could be multiple different reasons. Those are just a few.
Thank you. That's helpful. You mentioned the challenges of operating effectively, in some ways, two wastewater treatment plants. I imagine those who are with us today are quite familiar with these challenges. Thankfully, it appears we're getting close to the completion of the Clean Water Program and the wastewater treatment plant major steps. Going forward, do we anticipate less stress on maintenance vacancies as a result?
Yes, we are working very closely with the Public Works Department, working with their supervisors. We just administered a maintenance examination. We have an eligible list, and we are hoping to fill those positions, hopefully in the next couple of months. But we are working very closely with Public Works in terms of moving the process along.
And is this related to the 5 upcoming hires you
Correct.
had mentioned?
That is correct.
Okay. And I remember a request from last year related to barracks, and I wondered if I could ask the city manager for an update on this.
Yes, happy to provide an update. So a coordinated team of our HR director, our public works director, and our police chief, we looked at our barracks currently over off of Norfolk at an old fire station that our police department is utilizing. Based off of just the operational piece of the barracks and the security piece of it, we came to the conclusion that would not work out. It needs to remain solely a police department facility. So we looked at pivoting, and that's what we were working on right now, actually. So I know that Director Fabry's been working with staff to look at bringing in sleeping quarters over at the wastewater treatment plant. I believe there's been an informal survey that has gone out about who might be interested in utilizing that facility, specifically during emergencies or people having to work back-to-back shifts over there as well. And I believe a formal survey, right, Matt, is going to be going out to staff here shortly to talk about the utilization of putting that facility together. And it would be a facility that we would be renting moving forward to provide that resource to our staff who have to, drive from far away and also work long hours and back-to-back days and shifts.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the pivot. I think those are my questions at this moment. Just checking to see if there's anything else. Yes, Councilmember Newsom.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Araceli, I was just curious. So besides maintenance, is there anyone else that's currently above 7% vacancy?
Let me get to that slide and I'll be able to answer that question. Oops. Okay, in terms of our vacancy rate, we have SEIU maintenance at 12.6%, and the San Mateo Cities Employees Association at 10.4%.
So it sounds like you have a plan already in place for maintenance. If we bring on 5 people in the next 3 to 6 months, that'll put you below 7. Any concerns or ideas what the problem or what challenge you might be facing with the City Employees Association?
At this point, I think it's the number of vacancies are being looked at. My staff is working with the managers for the respective departments to try and fill these positions as quickly as possible. I think one of the main reasons is we do have a few folks that are working out of class, and there are some positions that are currently being reviewed.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Of course. At this time, I think we will move on in this public hearing structure to receive a closing statement from staff.
Should I start? Okay.
I believe that's right.
Sure. Okay, so I'll go ahead and begin. I think overall the city is making a positive progress in its recruitment and retention efforts. I look forward to continuing to work with and develop partnership with the various bargaining units, including SEIU, to address the identified challenges that we have outlined here today.
Okay, thank you. And now we can receive a closing statement from the employee organization.
Thank you for hearing us. I do appreciate all the effort from Araceli. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. On the record, I want to make sure I put it on the record that Alex is fantastic, Araceli is fantastic, City Council is fantastic. We thank you all for putting the effort in, and we really appreciate what is being done, and we just hope that in the future we can find more ways to keep people in the city of San Mateo. And I can tell you, I love working here. Everybody loves working here, and we're all just looking for the financial opportunity that keeps us here. So thank you very much for hearing us.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. I'll allow it. All right, I will close this item and thank everybody for who came to present on that. City Clerk, if we could please take a quick bio break. We'll just be taking a 2-minute recess and then we'll be back. Thank you. Director Abby Vieser.
Great. Good evening, Mayor Lorraine and members of the City Council. My name is Abby Vieser. I'm the Finance Director, and I'll be helping kind of shepherd through the TEFRA hearing tonight. Just as a reminder, the TEFRA stands for Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act. That is the kind of hearing we're doing for the Carey School this evening. Oh, and I did want to mention we do have Neely Norris from the Carey School in the audience today, so if we have any additional questions after what I cover, she's available as well. So just to do a quick kind of overview, I mean, I think folks know the Carey School, founded in 1928. It's a nonprofit corporation, CAIS accredited school, has about 292 students right now from preschool to 5th grade. And so they're looking to do some tax-exempt financing. Remember which one I'm using. I think, as you're all aware, the Carey School recently came to the City Council in January of 2026. They had a zoning code amendment and zoning reclassification so that they could provide development standards for an educational facility. So they received approval to construct an early childhood education center at 2033 LaSalle Drive to relocate the preschool operations to be next to its main campus. So this is going to be financing in relation to that project. To give you kind of a sense of what we're doing, so under under California Government Code, public agencies can form JPAs, and in this case, there's a number of JPAs that currently exist in California to facilitate tax-exempt financing programs for qualifying nonprofit and private sector projects that provide public benefit to their communities. So one of these JPAs, the California Association for Local Economic Development, CalEd, and its financing arm, the California Enterprise Development Authority, CEDA, have been working with the Carey School to secure financing for improvements to their school facility. So in order to help secure tax-exempt financing, there is a requirement that the agency where the financing project is located must be both a member of the JPA and conduct a public hearing. So this is a requirement under the provision of the Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act. So that's why we refer to this as a TEFRA hearing. Again, there's no financial obligation to the city to become either a member of the JPA or to conduct this public hearing. It's just to allow the Carey School to go after this tax-exempt financing for their public benefit. And we actually have the last TEFRA hearing we conducted for the Carey School was actually in 2019 when they did some previously, they bonded at that time. And so with that, the recommendation, just to kind of summarize, is to conduct the Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act public hearing and adopt a resolution approving the issuance of tax-exempt revenue obligations or executing of a loan transaction by the California Enterprise Development Authority for the purpose of financing, refinancing, or reimbursing the cost of capital improvements to the Carey School at their 2 San Mateo locations. And with that, I'm here for questions. And again, as I mentioned, a member of the Carey School is here if there's any questions about the public hearing.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, we would take public comment on this item. City Clerk.
Mayor Lorraine, we have not received any requests to speak on this item.
Okay, I will close public comment on this item and bring it back to the council for any questions or feedback. Councilmember Diaz-Nash.
Thank you through the mayor. Thank you, Abby. This makes perfect sense to me, and I'm glad it's happening because we want to make this whole early childhood education center come to life. And I'm interested in what other progress has been made. So come on up and share with us.
Hi, everyone. So nice to see you all again. Thank you for the question, and thanks to all of you for being here late on Monday evening. We're very excited about progress being made on our early childhood education center. This TEFRA hearing obviously is a hurdle for us so that we can hopefully secure tax-exempt financing. We very luckily were able to get a rate lock before the recent uptick in rates. And so Abby was very, very kind to help us get on this agenda so that we can hopefully get this done within the terms of our rate lock and then move forward with financing. We are in the process of finishing our contract and
finalizing the GMP, the pricing initiative for the project, and hoping to have that signed in the next 2 weeks. And we're on track to break ground in June, right following the school year ending. So we're hoping that we're going to be breaking ground the week of June 8th, which keeps us on time, on our timeline, to hopefully have the project done in about 9 months. So next spring, March or April, hopefully, of 2027, so that we can open the center for students in the fall of 2027, August. Yeah, so things are trucking along on our end, but yeah, it's been a busy few months since I last saw you in January. I finally got my voice back, though.
That's great. Well, thank you, Neely, so
Yeah.
much. And please let us know the date of the ribbon cutting.
Definitely. We can plan for probably August of 2027, and I will send invitations to each of you. I know you won't all be able to attend because of the Brown Act, but hopefully someone from the council will be able to join us for ribbon cutting.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you.
it. That was my question.
Thank you for it. Anyone else?
I just wanted to see if we can move forward if nobody had any other questions.
That works for me. City Clerk, do you see a comment from Deputy Mayor?
We need a motion and a second.
I think we have a motion, and I'll be a second.
Very good. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Certainly. Councilmember Svirko-Goditsky?
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom?
Yes.
Councilmember Diaz-Nash?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fernandez?
Yes.
And Mayor Lorraine?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. And thank you, Director Vieser, for your presentation. That will close that item, and we will move to the next one. Item 12, fiscal year 2026-27 comprehensive fees schedule approval with
Shauna was ready to go.
Sorry, one more. With a presentation from Senior Management Analyst Carly Toffey.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Lorraine and members of the City Council. My name is Carly Toffey. I'm the Senior Management Analyst in the Finance Department. The item before you this evening is the comprehensive fee schedule and the annual revisions to that. The fee schedule is the document where all of the fees charged by the city are listed. Finance leads the process of review and revision of the document on an annual basis. Public notice was made on March 21st and March 27th of this year. A majority of the fee changes that we have proposed tonight are cost recovery, and the fees are not to exceed the cost of providing the service. Typically, fees are increased annually by the Bay Area CPI or Consumer Price Index. Usually, we use the October CPI number from the BLS or Bureau of Labor Statistics, but that data is not available due to the 2025 lapse in appropriations. After some analysis and discussions, we decided to use the August number, which was 2.5% this year. Some of the changes I've highlighted for you tonight include new fees, fees increased in excess of CPI, reduced fees, and removed fees. And I've also covered these in further detail in the materials provided. Generally, new fees are for new services or services we had not previously charged for, like in the case of the campaign sign collection fee. This was added to capture the cost of staff time involved in the collection, storage, and release of campaign signs in prohibited locations. Another couple of new fees I'd like to highlight include the BMR unit annual monitoring fee, the BMR research fee as well. The research fee is being added so that we may charge for research requiring extensive housing staff time. The annual monitoring fee is being added and will apply only to new market rate developments with BMR units. And this will be charged on a per unit per year basis. Oops. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Okay. One of the reduced fees I'm sorry, let me go back 1 second. I skipped the annual monitoring fee here. So this is being added and will apply to the per unit per year basis. I did cover that. Okay, so the one reduced fee that I wanted to highlight for you guys is the residential heat pump water heater. The proposal in front of you tonight reduces this fee by 50%. This is to encourage the conversion from residential gas water heaters to heat pump water heaters. We did eliminate some fees as well, and the one I'm highlighting for you tonight are the IT fees. So we are removing these because these fees haven't been changed or charged in many years. The fees that are increased in excess of CPI that I wanted to highlight for you tonight were the golf fees. Market research was done and proposed increases before you tonight were determined based on comparable rates from golf courses in the area. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time this evening. I'm here for any questions you might have.
Thank you. I'd like to open this for public comment. City Clerk, do we have any?
Mayor Lorraine, we have not received any requests to speak on this item.
Okay, thank you. I will close public comment, bring it back to council. Councilmember Spirko-Goditsky.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe Joanne, since you're here, sorry, this is less related to these fees, but I am wondering where the Get Around program fits into this in Parks and Rec and how much we allocate.
Good evening, Joanne McGraney, Director of Parks and Recreation. The first several pages of our fee schedule covers our fiscal sustainability policy, and that's where our programs are taken into consideration. So those specific fees are not in the fee schedule. They're the ranges of percentages for our programs. That being said, we do charge $2 per ride for our rec fee assistance program and $5 a ride for all others for the Get Around program.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, just looking around. I have one quick question, Carly. Given that staff made a decision to use the August number for CPI, given the challenges, I guess I'm just curious if you could give me a sense of what might happen next year, assuming we have a regular year in which there isn't like a shutdown that causes the same challenges. I guess I won't ask you to speculate too much, but I'm just curious if there's like some sort of adjustment that might occur as a result of shifting to this number.
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, the October number was not released for this year. The data was not collected. So again, next year we'll face the same issue. So at that time, I would imagine we'd have a similar conversation with department leadership and do an analysis on the data that was released and decide which direction to go at that time. Do you have anything to add, Abby?
Well, I'll just add that we did keep an eye on the CPI. So we also looked at January and December data because that was available, and it was between 2.5 and 3%. So we felt like we were in the right ballpark with our 2.5%. So we'll probably do the same next year. We'll do a survey to look at the different CPI numbers since we won't have an October to compare to.
Thank you. I appreciate that. At this time, I would entertain a motion to
motion.
approve. Very good. Excellent. Thank you. City Clerk, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Certainly. Councilmember Spirko-Goditsky?
Yes.
Councilmember Diaz-Nash?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fernandez?
Yes.
Mayor Lorraine?
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thanks, Carly. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Ready?
We now have item number 13. Charter Amendments Public Hearing number 1 with a presentation from City Attorney Prasanna Rasai.
All right, good evening, City Council. Prasanna Rasai, City Attorney. So this, as you mentioned, is the first of 2 public hearings It is very similar to the presentation you heard last time and will be almost equally as short. Okay, so this is the same discussion as the last presentation. There are a lot of words on the slide, but in summary, this language change reflects the shift in our election process to district elections. And it also specifies that after each federal decennial census, then we will go through a redistricting process. And again, for council members elected in 2017, there was a change to the charter to comply with state law. But those council members elected in 2015 and 2017 have completed their terms, so this language just isn't necessary anymore. The next couple of slides provide a little more flexibility. This one provides that with this change, council members don't have to seek permission from the city council to be absent from the city for more than 30 days. 30 days is pretty short. So the proposal here is to change that to 60 days, which also aligns with state law that applies to general law cities. And similarly, more flexibility on as to filling council vacancies. So as I mentioned last time, sometimes a council vacancy will occur when a council member maybe is elected to a different office, which will happen in November. That means the 30-day period to pick a new council member is during November and December, which is kind of a challenging time. So the proposal here is to extend that to 60 days, allow for more public outreach, and some extra time for staff to recruit or to get the word out and to allow applications to come in, and then for the council to then make a decision. And again, this language shown in strike-through text at the end of the slide is no longer needed because you no longer have council members running for for multiple offices. Because previously for at-large elections, you could have different terms, and this language specified that if you receive the most votes, then you'll serve the longer of the unexpired terms. But since council members run by districts, this language is no longer relevant. Okay, so now we're on to something that's new, something that's different, and inspired by Councilmember Newsom's question from last time. So here it shows that the existing text and the highlighted language is what is proposed to be changed. So again, the current charter just says the regular meetings of the council are on the first and third Monday of the month, not earlier than 6:30 p.m. So this change pushes all of that language, all of those specifications to a resolution, because the charter doesn't need to be that specific as to the time of the meeting, when it has to begin, and also which day of the month it has to begin. It still could be exactly the same, could be a little bit different. You could say start the regular meeting at 6 if you wanted to. You know, it's up to the council, but then this provides a little more flexibility and removes overly specific language from the charter. That's all it is. And feel free to jump in if you have any questions. And I'll say that to the deputy mayor online too.
Councilmember Spiro-Koguditsky.
Oh, we have a question. Okay.
Yeah, just on slide 7. So someone would still need to bring it up, and then we'd still have to get a resolution to change the times.
Well, staff, I think if this charter change passed, or potentially in advance of the charter change, staff would bring forward a resolution saying, okay, if the charter is changed to make it more generic, then this resolution would go into effect, say, for example. So I think staff would bring this, we would take it upon ourselves to bring this to the council.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be, the council wouldn't be required to initiate that on your own.
Yeah, because I think I like it a lot because times have changed and we should modernize to the working schedule. But I could also see it backfiring where then you have like a bunch of people asking to change times constantly. So it should really be, I think, in staff control.
Well, I mean, it's really up to the council. By adopting a resolution, that would only change if the council majority decided to make a change and after public input. So yes, there's more flexibility to make a change, but it still requires council action. So I don't anticipate it changing that frequently. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, great. So moving to the next slide. So this is the same text as last time. I know a lot of words on the slide. The idea is for urgency or emergency ordinances, we would be able to publish a summary. That's really it. And also, currently the charter says that urgency ordinances automatically expire after 90 days, which as a general rule, it doesn't pose that many problems, but emergencies can last for longer than 90 days. So I think if this were to pass, then we would bring, say, an urgency ordinance back to the council for it to be repealed when the emergency is over. And I think we could just handle it that way instead of having to bring an urgency ordinance back and say the emergency still exists. Okay, so moving on. So this one is our finance director still with us. Okay, so this just really codifies what our practice is. This is something new from last time. So it specifies that the finance director's appointment is not subject to approval by the city council. It's just subject to the approval by the city manager. And also just modernizes the name of the finance director. And then this is the same as the last presentation. There's a very lengthy portion of the charter that addresses specified biographical information, civic group involvement, and a variety of other things that candidates have to provide to the city. And this would just eliminate that requirement since, for the reasons I mentioned last time, namely that the city is not the same source of information in 2026 that it was in 1922. Times have changed. Okay, so this is something a little different. Last time, you don't have to read through all the, I'll summarize it for you, all the struck text. So previously, I had suggested making more surgical changes to how you select a newspaper for publication of notices. Instead of saying the low bidder, you could just say request for proposals. Now I'm suggesting just getting rid of the entire section, and then we can specify how you go through this process through a change in our purchasing ordinance. And you can just say an ordinance, or rather request for proposals is appropriate to select a newspaper for publication of notices, which we still have to do since public hearing notices still have to be published. Maybe the state law will change, but for now we're still have to abide by it. Okay, and that's it. The current schedule is before you. This is the first public hearing, and you'll see the second one is coming up in May with a potential council action in June to put this on the ballot. And that concludes my presentation.
Yeah, so I understand, like, what is the ballot actually going to say? Because we obviously we can't put all these details.
Right. So the ballot, well, there will be a ballot question. So the way it works in terms of the council action putting this on the ballot, there will be a resolution. It will specify a ballot question, and then the text of the actual ballot measure will be an attachment to that resolution, showing all the strike through text and underline text. And then after the council, if the council acts to put this on the ballot, then I have to prepare an impartial summary of the ballot measure that will then be put in the packet of information that the county elections office, puts into the voter information guide. So this is just the raw text that I'm presenting to the council, but it'll be in a more polished form for council action in putting it on the ballot. And there's other requirements that apply, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to take a question from Councilmember Newsom.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two quick questions. Is there a requirement for a public hearing notice in terms of what the circulation has to be? Like, is it tied to it's a city of 106,000 people, so it has to have a circulation of 10%, 5%.
I think you're referring to the process for selecting a newspaper for public
Yeah,
hearing
for
notices.
public hearing notices.
Right. Well, no, it's right now the only constraint is really what's in our charter, and that's the issue, that it calls for a low bid process that does not take into account things like circulation in the city, which I think is important to do, in addition to things such as how frequently is the newspaper going to be published?
Right.
Because that also has a practical impact on staff. So to your point, the charter does not expressly allow consideration of that type of thing, or it's not as cleanly worded. And the idea of eliminating that section and just putting a much simplified section in the municipal code would allow staff to more clearly take into account local circulation as a factor.
And right now, it is limited to, it has to be a printed publication, correct?
Well, right. I mean, the public hearing notice has to be in a printed publication. Yeah, so it's a newspaper adjudicated, which is this whole, it's a specified process, adjudicated by a court to be a newspaper of general circulation, within the city, or if not the city, then the county. And that is a physical newspaper, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then my second question is, so the redistricting of the districts is decennial? Is that every 10 years?
Right, it's every 10 years because of the U.S. constitutional requirement to conduct a new census every 10 years.
Not to speculate, but the federal government doesn't always behave, especially recently, the way they're supposed to. What happens in the event of if they don't do a census that year?
If they don't perform a census, well, I think we'll have to just cross that bridge when we come to it. I think we just have to depend on the Constitution being.
And when is the next one scheduled?
The next one is scheduled every 10 years. So it's done 2020, 2030, 2040. The actual production of the census numbers and with the sufficient detail so as to draw districts, it doesn't come out exactly in 2020. There's a little bit of a delay. So it's really the next year that we get the numbers. So the redrawing of district lines would most likely happen in 2031, not 2030.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, this time I'd like to open public comment, just in case there are any.
Mayor Loren, there are no requests to speak on this item.
Okay, I will close public comment for this item and return it to the council for any further questions. Seeing and hearing none, I would, I don't believe we need to move, or do we need to move on this?
There is no action required. It's just a public hearing, and there will be another one of these, as shown on the slide, on May 18th, and then council action is proposed for June 15th, which is well ahead of schedule, but it's going to be a busy summer. So that's why we wanted to get in front of the council sooner rather than later.
Indeed, and we thank you for this presentation, and this concludes hearing number 1. Thanks to all for participating. And we have one more item. New business for the City of San Mateo and Joint Powers Financing Authority. Item number 14, City of San Mateo Joint Powers Financing Authority Variable Rate Demand Revenue Bonds, Public Safety Project, Series 2007A, Letter of Credit Renewal. And it appears we will have a presentation from Finance Director Abby Vieser.
Okay, good evening again. The next item before you is a letter of credit renewal. And we're doing this as the city and the city JPA. And just to kind of do a brief overview on that, the city JPA is one of our public financing authorities. So back in 2007, when we did these variable rate bonds, the city JPA was the authority that did the public financing for that. We do have a second public financing authority. That's the San Mateo Foster City Public Financing Authority. So that's the one we've been using more recently because that's the ability to bond on the sewer fund and for wastewater treatment plant, because that involves the city of Foster City as well. But this is one that we have had. We had it since about 1993. So that's why tonight this new business item is both a city and city JPA item. So just to give you kind of a rundown on our 2007 variable rate bonds, we did do an initial bond issuance of about $17.4 million back in April of 2007. And that was to complete the police administration building that our police department is currently in. These variable rate bonds require a bank letter of credit that will be drawn upon if the bonds cannot be remarketed at the weekly variable rate. Wells Fargo has been providing this letter of credit to us since 2009. As you can see, we had a renewal in 2012, 2015, 2018, 2021 was the last renewal. That was 5 years ago. We were intended to renew by April 5th of 2026 based on that agreement. We did not get to the council before we had that deadline, but we were able to have the city manager sign and we met the terms with Wells Fargo Bank and with the Bank of New York, which does the variable rate bond issuance for us at the time. So we were able to meet that, but now we're coming back to the council for ratification of the approval of that letter of credit. And I'm just going to talk, let's see, I don't know if we lost the agenda or not here. But I will just kind of keep moving forward because I did want to tell you a little bit about the cost for these variable rate bonds. We do pay a remarketing fee because, again, we do the variable interest rates reset weekly. So we pay a remarketing fee about 9 basis points. And we also do the credit fees to Wells Fargo for the letter of credit. That's about 75 basis points. And then, of course, we also do pay the interest each week for the bondholders. So given all this, we do still think this is a good financing deal for the city. Currently, we have about $11.5 million left on these bonds. We have met with our municipal advisor, had her review the deal, and it's still a very good deal for us. We don't need to go to fixed rate yet. So that's why we were going ahead and renewing the letter of credit with Wells Fargo. It is a 3-year deal. And if for any reason we find that going to fixed rates before the next letter of credit ends, we can always terminate that and go to a different rate structure. So we will keep an eye on that, but for now, this is the best rate we have. We've actually, over the last 5 years, we had interest about 1.71% on the funds. So it's been a very good bond for us, and that's why we'll continue to keep it this way. And I think the resolution for tonight is to adopt a resolution as the San Mateo City Council and a resolution as the governing board of the City of San Mateo Joint Powers Financing Authority, each ratifying city manager approval of the 5th Amendment to the reimbursement agreement, as well as the 2nd amended and restated fee agreement for the renewal of an irrevocable letter of credit with Wells Fargo Bank, according to the terms in the agreement. So that is what I have, and if you have any questions, please let me know. But we're looking for ratification of those agreements.
Excellent. Thank you for the presentation. I'd like to open public comment and ask the city clerk if we have any.
Thank you, Mayor Lorraine, and apologies. We experienced a brief technical interruption of the meeting, but we are back in our virtual environment now. We have not received any requests to speak on this item through public comment.
Very good. Thank you. I will close public comment. Bring it back to council for questions and comments. Councilmember Speaker Guditsky.
I'd like to see if we can motion to ratify this.
Let's see. Councilmember Newsom?
I have one question briefly. Sorry. And I actually already asked this of the city manager, but just wanted to ask it publicly. I was the last one to finish my Form 700 last week, and I'm wondering, looks like we are actually on 2 additional JPAs than I think we're putting on our Form 700. Do we need to be including the Joint San Mateo Foster City Public Authority and the San Mateo Joint Public Finance Authority on our Form 700s?
We can look into that and get back to the council.
Thank you. That was my only question.
Thank you. At this time, I believe I can entertain a motion to ratify.
I motion.
Second.
And City Clerk, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Certainly. Councilmember Svirko-Guditsky?
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom?
Yes.
Councilmember Diaz-Nash?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fernandez?
Yes.
Mayor Lorraine.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you for the presentation. That concludes item 14. And now we have reached reports, announcements, and committee updates. Would anyone like to go first or? Okay, Councilmember Diaz-Nash.
If that would work. Thank you very much. As we heard tonight during general public comment, there is going to be a meeting tomorrow morning, the regular County Board of Supervisors meeting. And at that meeting, they are going to take up the potential purchase of a property in Burlingame on Mahler Road and Bayshore as an alternative site for the proposed Horizon Detox Center that is currently proposed to be sited at 101 North El Camino. And I will be attending that as a representative of District 1 to make public comment, but I also would appreciate my fellow council members' support so that I could go and attend the meeting and say that not only I, as the D1 council member, but the San Mateo City Council is supportive of this alternative purchase because it is a larger property. It's better. It was where the Star Vista Sobering Center was. So it's already built for a number of the services that are being proposed. It would be an investment by the county so that it would grow over time and they would control the service because they would own the property as opposed to Horizon owning the property. And if they changed their mind or their service wasn't so good, the county would not be in as good a position. And it would also be better situated for the community, and similar services have already been provided there. So I wanted to bring this up during reports and announcements. There was a public comment to the same effect, and I would appreciate support.
Councilmember Szuka-Kudisky.
Thank you, Councilmember Nash. How does this differentiate from our meeting on the 15th?
Excellent question. If I could answer that, Mayor. So this will be specifically about the purchase of the property. The meeting on the 15th, which I think is going to be even more important, is an opportunity, probably the first time for any kind of extended discussion between the community and Horizon as to all the questions that the community has about what is the service, what is the center, how it will be operated. I've got a list of probably about 45 questions that I've collected so far. I'm sure it will go on far greater, but it's an opportunity for us as the city council and city staff to welcome our residents and our constituents in to ask questions of Horizon. Whereas the meeting tomorrow is the first item on the regular agenda of the County Board of Supervisors, specifically about do they make this alternative purchase or not. So we'll not go into all the details about what the service is, what are the security procedures, what are the safety plans, how is the decision to site the service there made, and continue the discussion.
Well, thank you. Okay, so you're asking for the council's support.
I would appreciate the council's support so that tomorrow I can go to the meeting and say that I am speaking not only as a D1 council member, but on behalf of the San Mateo City Council to support the supervisor's purchase of this as an alternative site.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
I would also be, excuse me, I'd also be supportive.
That's a majority, so you have direction.
Okay.
You can speak on behalf of yourself and the city council.
Thank you very much. I wanted to make sure I was very clear with everyone. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just add, so there's no formal action being taken by the council. This is just informal statements by individual council members that you are then carrying forward when you, if and when you make comments at the meeting tomorrow.
Right. Yes. Thank you very much.
Through the mayor, Deputy Mayor Fernandez has her hand raised.
Please go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You had the majority votes, but I am supportive of you, Councilmember Diaz-Nash, on representing the council tomorrow, and good luck. To the city manager, can you give us an update on the special council meeting that we'll be holding, and who from the county and who from Horizons will be represented?
Yes, so we're planning for a special city council meeting to discuss the Horizon proposal to have a behavioral health facility at 101 North El Camino here in the city of San Mateo. At this meeting, it'll start at 6 p.m. on April 15th, and we have received confirmation from Horizon that they will be attending this meeting at this time officially.
Anything else, Deputy Mayor? Yeah.
Will there be anybody from the county representing?
I have not received confirmation to date. I've received a respectful decline from county or board president Noelia Corzo at this time.
Thank you.
Councilmember Diaz-Nash, did you have any other reports, announcements, committee updates? Okay. Deputy Mayor Fernandez, did you have any more reports, announcements, or committee updates you'd like to share?
Not at this time. Just a swift thank you to city staff for working so diligently on the issues that have arisen with the incident that happened at Delaware and State. And thank you to the council for giving us the width to get something done immediately.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Svieko-Goditsky.
Yes, we heard a lot about infrastructure tonight, and I just wanted to let the council know that on April 25th, not only is there a Bayfront cleanup, but there will be a few bike rides happening across the city to the 3rd and Norfolk new infrastructure that's being put in for a ribbon cutting and celebration for that safety upgrade. So would really appreciate if everyone could prioritize coming to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Newsom.
I'll be there. Let's see. Met with the Foster City, San Mateo Elementary Middle School District. Really not anything to report out for them other than they had a good meeting. And then also sat in on the SFO roundtable on Wednesday, April 1st. Not a whole lot going on there either, other than they're working to try to find ways to reward airlines who run quiet, meaning don't observe the hours of quiet during, which is I think is between 10 p.m. and 5:30 a.m. So that's been happening. There is a surprisingly high number of people that make complaints on a monthly and quarterly basis from the city of San Mateo for the events. I wouldn't have thought it would be. It's in the high dozens, not quite 100, but like 80 something. So that was surprising. And then the only other thing is that you guys have all probably heard, but the FAA changed a ruling, which means that they're no longer allowed to land at the same time side by side. They have to alternate, which means that for the next year and a half to 2 years, there will be close to a 26% delay in all incoming flights to SFO. So doesn't really have a huge impact on the city other than inconvenience, but those are my report outs. Thank you.
Thank you for those. Okay, yes, I will just note that the city's legislative committee, comprising myself and the deputy mayor, had a meeting last week with staff and our CPPG, who is advising us on legislative matters. We used the legislative platform that the city council approved and had it guide us on decisions on whether to take positions on particular bills. There are a number of bills. I'll spare you the positions on all of them, but the platform, I think it's safe to say, was generally adhered to. And I asked our city clerk just today if we could potentially get a summary of the actual positions shared through Weekly Digest for the council, and I am seeing nodding heads that will occur. So you can look forward to that. And if the public is interested, they can take a look at the agenda, which is in our city website. The agenda report has a number of bills lined out, and if they have questions on any particular position, they could reach out. So I wanted to share that. I attended a monthly meeting for the board of directors of Peninsula Clean Energy in March, and I think one note I wanted to share was that you may recall last year a decision was made to dissolve the Citizens Advisory Committee, which had a number of citizens, including some from our Community Advisory Committee. Community members, including some from the city of San Mateo, in favor of a series of community feedback forums. And the first of those occurred in Half Moon Bay and had 100 plus attendees, some positive feedback, a lot of interacting in Spanish with many attendees. And the next one will be May 4th in Redwood City. So for those interested, there will be another opportunity. And I think we received an overview of rate changes and affordability. We took an opportunity to increase a bit of solar and storage for public buildings funding, and in that we had I had an opportunity to review a number of projects that have happened with, what they call GovPV, which includes the carport project, the Beresford Recreation Center, which I wanted to make sure to highlight in our State of the City address, because I feel that this program has been great for agency cities to invest in renewable energy technology at effectively no additional cost. So I was pleased to see some next steps being taken on projects like that, and potentially investing in batteries to go along with future projects. I'll just see if I had any other quick announcements. We hosted a couple of youth ambassadors from our sister city of Toyonaka recently. We had the city manager met them. I met them here at City Hall. We got to see some presentations, and Councilmember Diaz-Nash and I potentially others saw them at the library when they were on Saturday. Yes, we did some kendo practice, and we saw dance, interpretive dance, cultural dance shared, and just great to have them. And I want to thank the city clerk and staff, deputy city clerk, for being such great and welcoming hosts to our ambassadors. Those are my reports, announcements, and committee updates. Sure.
I think on behalf of the rest of the council, we would like to congratulate the mayor on his State of the City address. It went extremely well. And thank you to all the staff who supported him, but it's been very well received.
Thank you. Yes, definitely a team effort, and I was heartened to see a number of folks in the library. It was a good opportunity, as always, to have the department heads after the speech line up and interact with the public on their questions and show just how much is happening in our city. So it was a privilege and honor to be there, and thank you. Okay, and with that, I will adjourn the meeting for tonight. Thanks, everybody. Good night.